Hi everyone, am I audible properly? Very good morning. I hope my voice is clear. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we will be starting with the financial accounting MCQs and then we'll be continuing with the costing and the other MCQs, right? Now, wherever the explanation will be needed, obviously I'm going to provide you the explanation, but otherwise I would like that you should choose the correct answer so that we can move forward, right? So let us start with the question number 1 that we have. Question number 1 is accounting standards are. You have all the options. That written policy document issued by the expert accounting body, set of broad accounting policies to be followed by an entity, set in the form of general principles and all of the above. Now, this particular question, even if you are confused, but still all of the options over here are correct, right? Yes. Why all of the options are correct? Because yes, it is a written policy document which is given by an expert accounting body. They are set in the form of general principles, and these are such kind of principles which you have to follow in your generic accounting practices, right? So yes, first you will be having the all of the above as an answer. Question number 2 that you have is X and Y are partners with capitals of 10,000 and 20,000 respectively, sharing profits equally. They admit Z as their third partner with 1/4 of their profit in the firm on the payment of 12,000. Now, what is the amount of hidden goodwill is? क्या होगा amount of hidden goodwill? बताइए. What is going to be the amount of hidden goodwill over here? See, in this particular question, you are admitting someone for 12,000 rupees, right? And for 1/4 share. So if he is having 1/4 share, then as per this calculation, what should have been the total capital of your firm? So आपके firm की total capital कितनी होनी चाहिए थी? 48,000. Right. But actually, your total capital is just 30,000, which is inclusive of yours and Y's capital. Right. So, why you have inflated the amount by 18,000? आपने क्यों inflate किया है 18,000 से? That is because of your goodwill. ठीक है? वो आपकी goodwill की वजह से है जो आपने 18,000 inflate किया है, and that is the quantum of your hidden goodwill. Right? So over here the answer is 18,000. Now you need to find out which account is the odd one out. Office furnitures, freehold land and building, stock of raw material, plant and machinery. Quite easy to guess over here. Office furniture, freehold land and building, plant and machinery, they all stands as my non-current assets, and stock of raw material is something which I classify as my current assets, right? Yes, stock of raw material is something which I classify as my current asset. It is going to be recoverable within a period of 1 year, and that is why it is odd one out of the following given options. Now next is purchase book records. All cash purchases, all credit purchases of goods in trade only, both cash and credit purchases. What should be your answer? बताइए. Question number 4. Good. Credit purchases of goods in trade only. So where do we record our cash purchases? Cash purchases हम कहाँ record करते हैं? Yes, but where do we record our cash purchases? Cash purchases हम cash book में record करते हैं. There are other purchases as well which we might make with respect to the plant and machinery and other kind of things. So that would not be recorded in your purchase book, right? That is something we are going to avoid in our purchase book. Now next question we have is related to trial balance. So it is a statement which shows, now you have to fill the blanks, balances of all the account. Opening, closing, current, future, debit, credit, cash or bank. Now over here you might be confused between two options. But what is going to be the answer as per you? What kind of balances trial balance show? Does it show opening, closing balances, current, future balances, credit, debit balances? What kind of balances it shows? Yes, it shows us debit or credit balance, right? One more thing that I would like to ask you, if my trial balance matches, ठीक है, अगर मेरा trial balance match करता है, so is this a guarantee that there is no error in my trial balance? If my trial balance matches perfectly, then is there any guarantee that my trial balance does not have any sort of error? There will be error, right? What kind of error I can foresee? या फिर what kind of error I can assume that there might be an error? Good. Omissions, compensating errors, these kind of errors can be there. Yes, good. Very good. Chaliye. So next we have the contra entries are passed only when double column cash book is prepared, 3-column cash book is prepared, simple cash book is prepared and none of the above. बताइए. कौन से केस में? Okay, great. So in the 3-column cash book, this is the answer. In the 3-column cash book, 3 columns are for what? 3 columns किस चीज के लिए होते हैं? 3 columns किस चीज के लिए होते हैं? In 3-column cash book, 3 column depicts what? Cash, bank and discount, right? Apart from it, contra entries का मतलब क्या होता है आपकी? Contra entries का मतलब when there is a movement between cash and bank, ठीक है, जब cash and bank के बीच में movement हो तब. Now next question we have is Mr. Anand buys goods of 2,50,000 paying cash of 2 lakh. What is the amount of expense as per the accrual concept? Now fairly easy question. You have bought the goods of 2,50,000. So this is going to be your expense as per the accrual concept. आपको 2,50,000 ही रिकॉर्ड करना है. Doesn't matter how much amount you have paid, right? कितना अमाउंट आपने पे किया है उससे हमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. No, why did you say C? No, not 50,000. Accrual concept में तो आप पूरा expense लेंगे ना. You're going to take the full expense, that is 2,50,000 for your preparation of books. Now next you have profit or loss on revaluation of assets and liabilities at the time of admission of partner is shared among the partner in what ratio? Revaluation of assets, please focus on to this. Revaluation of assets and liabilities at the time of admission of partner. When you are admitting the partner, will it be shared in the old profit sharing ratio, new profit sharing ratio, capital ratio or equal? बताइए. When a partner is being admitted, question number 8. See, 2 things I have marked for you. You are going to revalue your assets and this is going to happen at the time of admission of partner. ठीक है? Revaluation में I can have profits as well, right? I can have losses as well. But why would the new person be responsible for it? नया बंदा क्यों responsible होगा? He will be like ये जितना भी रायता आप लोगों ने फैलाया है, you have to clean it up by yourself, right? So that is why it means old profit sharing ratio is something we are going to use over here, because before admitting the partner, whatever revaluation will happen, जो भी आपका revaluation वगैरह होगा, that is going to be handled by the old partners themselves. ठीक है, वो उनको खुद को ही handle करना है. So yeah, the answer over here is old profit sharing ratio. Which types of errors do not affect the matching of trial balance? See, we were discussing about it. Except कौन से types of error हैं जो affect नहीं करते trial balance को? Except compensating errors, errors of complete omission, errors of partial omission, errors of principal. बताइए. Which types of error do not affect the matching of trial balance? मतलब कि ये error होंगे तो भी आपका trial balance match हो जाएगा. बताइए. See, with respect to compensating errors, suppose you have forgot to include a transaction, so it is not going to impact your trial balance matching. Compensating error is there, then also it is not, yes, exception पूछा है यहाँ पे, compensating error है, तभी it is not going to impact your trial balance. So these two are not the options for me. Now two options are left. Errors of partial omission, errors of principal. Errors of principal का मतलब है, suppose I have purchased a machinery, right? I have written into purchase account, both are debit. Don't you think that it is not going to impact the matching of your trial balance? ये आपके ट्रायल बैलेंस की मैचिंग को कैसे भी इम्पैक्ट नहीं करेगा. सो द राइट ऑप्शन फॉर अस इज एरर्स ऑफ पार्शियल ओमिशन. एरर्स ऑफ पार्शियल ओमिशन मीन्स सपोज आई हैव रिकॉर्डेड one leg of the transaction and I have forgotten to record the another leg of transaction, right? मान लीजिए मैंने रिकॉर्ड कर लिया 10,000 डेबिट में, but I have forgotten to record 10,000 in credit. So this is what, when you have forgotten the one leg of transaction, that is when it is going to impact your trial balance. ठीक है, तब वो आपके trial balance को impact करेगा. Now moving forward, errors are mistakes. Now this is something which is not which we should not do. It is obviously unintentional mistakes. We know about it. Now next is, which of the following is an example of capital expenditure? Drawings, outstanding expenses, machinery or debtors. Which is the correct option over here? Capital expenditure. So although it is super clear that it is machinery, but remember capital expenditure का मतलब जब भी आप capital expenditure करते हैं, either you are creating an asset, and when I'm saying, I mean to say you are creating a long-term asset, fine, or you are reducing a long-term liability. या तो आपकी एसेट क्रिएट हो रही होगी या फिर यू आर रिड्यूसिंग अ लॉन्ग टर्म लाइबिलिटी. दिस इज व्हाट कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर मींस. सो मशीनरी अकाउंट, yes, we are creating an asset, it is going to be capital expenditure. Next thing is, interest on capital will be paid to the partners if provided in the agreement, but only from profits, reserves, accumulated profits or goodwill. Over here, the answer is going to be a profit. That interest on capital we are going to provide you if we have the profits. अगर हमारे पास profit है, we are going to provide you the interest on capital. Next is present liability of uncertain amount. ठीक है, two things. It is present liability and the amount is uncertain, which can be measured reliably by using estimation, is termed as provision, liability, contingent liability or reserve. बताइए, what do we refer to it? Present liability of uncertain amount. You guys sure about it? See, again over here you have to go for the keywords. It is a super easy question. If it is a future liability which is not clear yet and the amount is uncertain as well, this is going to be called as your contingent liability. Liability is present plus the amount is certain as well. But if your liability is clear, that means you need to pay it, but you are not clear about the amount, this is when provision comes into the picture. Okay, this is when provision comes into the picture. Now next question, let's see this. If a purchase return of 94 has been wrongly posted to the debit of sales return account, ठीक है, purchase return थी 94 rupees की, but had been correctly entered into the supplier's account, supplier के account में correctly enter की गई है. So the total of trial balance would show. ट्रायल बैलेंस का टोटल क्या शो करेगा? क्रेडिट साइड टू बी 94 मोर देन द डेबिट साइड, डेबिट साइड टू बी 94 मोर देन द क्रेडिट साइड, क्रेडिट साइड टू द 188 मोर देन द डेबिट साइड एंड डेबिट साइड टू द 188 मोर देन द क्रेडिट साइड. व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी द आंसर फॉर इट? ये ट्रायल बैलेंस रिलेटेड एरर से आपका क्वेश्चन है. बताइए. See over here, you have there is a purchase return. So purchase return आपको क्या करना चाहिए था? Credit या debit? First thing first. What you should have done with the purchase return? Purchase returns are ideally, suppose this is the neutral, purchase return should have been credited. ठीक है, आपको credit करना चाहिए था 94 rupees से. Great. But what you have done is you have debited with 94. ठीक है, आपने डेबिट कर दिया 94 से. That means instead of reducing it, you have increased it. So number one thing is there is going to be the double impact, right? And the correct option is option number C, that is credit side to be 188 more than the debit side. ठीक है, 188 ज्यादा हो जाएगा because you have not taken the impact of purchase returns into it. ठीक है, आपने purchase return का जो है impact नहीं लिया है. Now what you need to do is do this on your own as well and try to plot it onto the trial balance and you will understand why it has happened like this. Questions like this are really easy, but at the same time they might be very very confusing for you as well. ठीक है, see करेक्ट अकाउंटिंग ट्रीटमेंट हाउ इट शुड हैव बीन. देखो यहाँ पे आपको छोटा सा अपना खुद का ट्रायल बैलेंस बना लेना है, राइट? योर सप्लायर्स अकाउंट, सप्लायर्स का अकाउंट कौन से साइड में आएगा? डेबिट साइड में या क्रेडिट साइड में? छोटा सा देखो, इस तरीके के क्वेश्चंस करने का ट्रिक यही है कि आपको जो है अपना स्टेटमेंट बना लेना है. Instead of showing there is a debit side, then there is a credit side as well. आपका सप्लायर का अकाउंट कौन सा उसमें आता है? Then you have to find out that this is the correct one, this is the wrong one, and this is the correct one. करेक्ट वन में अगर हम करते हैं तो परचेज रिटर्न को दिखाते हैं क्रेडिट साइड में 94. यस, ठीक है, परचेज रिटर्न को हम दिखाते हैं क्रेडिट साइड में बिकॉज परचेजेस आर डेबिटेड, सो परचेज रिटर्न्स आर क्रेडिटेड. व्हेयरएज सप्लायर का अकाउंट, सप्लायर का अकाउंट का मतलब जिससे हमें पैसे लेने थे उसके अकाउंट को दिखाते हैं हम 94 डेबिट साइड में. दिस वुड हैव बीन द करेक्ट थिंग. ठीक है, ये आपकी सही चीज होती. बट अभी आपने क्या किया? सप्लायर के अकाउंट में तो 94 दिखा दिए, ग्रेट, बट देन यू हैव सेल्स रिटर्न में आपने डेबिट साइड में लिख दिया, यस, बोथ द एंट्रीज यू हैव डन ऑन टू द डेबिट साइड, दोनों की दोनों एंट्रीज आपने डेबिट साइड में कर दी हैं. नाउ बिकॉज ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम योर क्रेडिट साइड इज इनबैलेंस्ड and that is why there will be an impact onto it, right? Now next question, just a minute. Now let's see this question number 15. X and Y are partners with a capital of 150 and 140 respectively. They share profits and losses equally. Now Z is admitted in bringing 1,50,000 as capital and nothing was brought against Goodwill. Now Goodwill in balance sheet shows 20,000 is revalued as 35,000. What will be the value of Goodwill in the books after admission of Z? 55, 35, 20 or 15? What is going to be the answer for this? बताइए. What is going to be the answer for this? Question number 15. See, what happens is, in relation to Goodwill, if there is new partner which has been entered and you have revalued the Goodwill, it is going to be shown as 35,000. ठीक है, आपकी revalued amount of Goodwill ही वो वापस show किया जाएगा. That is 35,000. Irrespective whatever he might have brought, अगर आपकी Goodwill revalue हुई है, then show it at the revalued figure. Now next we have the profits of last 3 years. They are 43,000, 38,000, 45,000. You need to find out the Goodwill if it is valued at 2 years purchase of average profit. 2 साल के एवरेज प्रॉफिट के में आपको ये कंप्यूट करना है. एंड ओवर हियर व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फाइंड आउट द एवरेज, दैट इज 43,000 plus 38,000 plus 45,000 divided by 3, right? And then you need to multiply it with 2. That is 2 years average of the super profits, right? So average आपने निकाल लिया and then just multiply it with 2. You will get your answer. So answer is going to be 43 plus 38 plus 45 divided by 3. 42 multiplied by 2 is 84,000. So that is going to be your answer for the profits. Now next thing, if the capital employed by the partnership firm is 1 lakh rupees and its average profit is 20,000, normal rate of return is 15%, then find Goodwill if it is valued on the basis of 1 year's purchase of super profit, because they have introduced one more element over here. तो यहाँ पे उन्होंने उसको थोड़ा सा easy कर दिया है. Now super profits is average profit less normal profit. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे हमारे पास average profit they have already given 20,000 and normal profit is 1 lakh is your capital, 15% is the return, 5,000 is your super profit. 1 year's purchase of super profit, 5,000 is going to be your answer. जो 5,000 है वो आपका आंसर हो जाएगा, right? Now next thing, total capital which is employed by a partnership firm is 1 lakh and its average profit is 25,000. Normal rate of return 20%. The firm earns super profit of. Again, similar kind of question where the super profit is going to be, yes, यहाँ पे भी आपका super profit कितना होगा 5,000 because your average profit is 25,000. Your normal profits are 20,000 and this is going to give you 5,000. ठीक है, ये आपको जो है आपका 5,000 आंसर देगा. दिस इज योर सुपर प्रॉफिट्स. Now next is in the absence of any provision in the partnership agreement, profits and losses are shared. This you can answer on your own as well. आप अपने आप से भी आंसर कर सकते हैं. What is going to be the answer? बताइए. Okay. Equal, right? Yes. Great. So, in the ratios of capital equal in the ratios given to them by the partnership firm. Next, we have a company forfeited 2,000 shares of 10 each, which were issued at par, held by Mr. X for non-payment of first and final call of money, that is 4 per share. The called up value per share was 9 rupees. On forfeiture, the amount debited to the share capital would be. अब बताइए forfeiture पे हम शेयर कैपिटल में जो अमाउंट डेबिट करेंगे वो कितना होगा, बताइए. Very simple question. They haven't even asked you what you need to debit or credit to the capital reserve or something like that. They have just asked that if you have forfeited, तब आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा. What is the amount that you have to debit to the share capital? Answer please. Why so? A very simple calculation is it is. How? See, you have received 9 rupees. ठीक है, आपने कॉल अप किया है 9 rupees. The person has not paid you 4 rupees. 5 rupees you are going to keep in your pocket. ठीक है, 5 रुपए आप अपनी पॉकेट में रखेंगे. So that means I am going to debit the share capital with 9 rupees. Okay. And I am going to credit the calls and arrears of first and final call, जो भी आप लिखना चाहें. I am writing calls and arrears, and then the amount which I have already received will go in the share forfeiture account, right? So that means share capital में 9 rupees जाएंगे multiplied with 2,000, that is 18,000. Share capital में हमेशा उतना ही value जाता है what you have called up. आपने जो कॉल अप कर ली है वो ही वैल्यू जो है आपकी जाती है. नाउ नेक्स्ट इज Abacus Limited issued shares of 10 each at a discount of 10%. Okay. Mr. Mahesh purchased 30 shares and paid 2 on application but did not pay the allotment money of rupees 3. Company forfeited his entire shares. The forfeiture account will be credited by. forfeiture account को हम कितने से क्रेडिट करेंगे? Can you tell me? Tell me on to this. कितने अमाउंट से क्रेडिट करेंगे हम? See, basically in such kind of questions, instead of doing the plus and minus, you can easily find out what will go into the forfeiture account. Forfeiture account का मतलब क्या होता है? What the other person has already paid, which we are going to forfeit. That means we are not going to give back that to him or her. So in this particular case, we have seen that the person has paid us 2 rupees. 2 रुपए दिए हैं उसने, तो वही forfeit करेंगे, right? 30 shares पे 2 rupees which we have, which the person has given, that is something we can forfeit. ठीक है, share forfeiture में तो यही balance जाता है. Now next is The company cannot issue redeemable preference shares for a period exceeding. An easy question to answer. Company cannot issue redeemable preference shares for a period exceeding 6, 7, 8, 20. बताइए, what should happen in this case? Question number 22. So this comes straight from the provisions that a company cannot issue redeemable preference shares having a maturity longer than 20 years. ठीक है, 20 साल से ज्यादा जो है आप नहीं इशू कर सकते. A clear thing. Next is 200 paid as wages for erecting a machine should be debited to repairs, machine, capital, furniture. Where it should go? Question number 23. बताइए. Yes. See, erecting a machinery means you are installing a machinery, and accounting standard says that any expense you incur till the time machinery is ready to use, जब तक आपकी machinery ready to use नहीं हो जाती है, all the expenses should be capitalized as a part of your machine. ठीक है, machinery के part की तरह ही आपको capitalize करना है. So that is why over here 200 which has been paid as wages will go into the machine account. Next is if sales are 2000, rate of gross profit on cost of goods sold is 25%, then the cost of goods sold will be. A clear, what you can say, a small kind of question which is asked multiple number of times. So, see over here, if my sales is 100 rupees, okay, they have, just wait. They have told us rate of gross profit on cost of goods sold. So, let us assume cost of goods sold is 100. So, gross profit is going to be 25% on 100, and as a virtue sales is going to be 125, the total of these two. Okay, over here they have given me sales is 2000. So if 2000 is 125, what is going to be 100? That is cost of goods sold. Can we find it out? If the 2000 is 125, what is going to be 100? So, correct answer. Have you guys given me the answer? Question number 24. 1600 it is. Okay, 1600 it is. Such kind of questions, they are small in nature and they are very easy to tackle. So, please देख लीजिएगा इनको. Next is question number 25. If cost of goods sold is 80,700, opening stock 5,800, closing stock is 6,000, then the amount of purchases will be. So over here, need to apply the formula, that is cost of goods sold is equals to opening stock plus purchases. Remember, direct expenses can also be here, but if it is not given to you in the question, then just ignore it. Less closing stock, right? So for me, my cost of goods sold is 80,700. Opening stock is 5,800 plus purchases. I'm going to write it over here, and closing stock is 6,000. So minus 200 will go over there, will become plus 200, and 80,900 is going to be my purchases. Okay, 80,000. $900, right? Next we have question number 26, another straight line method of depreciation. The amount of yearly depreciation remains the same, fluctuates, increases year after year, decreases year after year. What is the scenario? Question number 26, it remains same, right? In case of written down value method, what does happens? रिटन डाउन वैल्यू मेथड में क्या होता है, इट रिड्यूसेस ईयर आफ्टर ईयर. नाउ वन मोर क्वेश्चन, व्हाट हैपेंस इन द यूनिट्स मेथड. यूनिट बेस्ड डेप्रिसिएशन में क्या होता है, what happens in the unit based depreciation method. यूनिट बेस्ड डेप्रिसिएशन, यूनिट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन मेथड जो होता है, इट इज एन अकाउंटिंग कॉन्सेप्ट ओनली. यूनिट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन मेथड में सपोज दिस ईयर आई एम प्रोड्यूसिंग 20,000 यूनिट्स, नेक्स्ट ईयर आई माइट बी प्रोड्यूसिंग 30,000 यूनिट्स, राइट, and what not, right? It can increase, it can decrease, and whatever might happen with it. So that is why in case of unit of production method it fluctuates. ठीक है, कब वो क्या करता है, fluctuate करता है, neither increases decreases, it depends. Now next is BRS statement is prepared to know the causes for the difference between the balances as per cash column of cash book and passbook, the balances as per bank column of cash book and the passbook, the balance as per bank column of cash book and balance as per cash column of the cash book, none of the above. Fairly easy question. Question number 27. क्या होगा इसका आंसर? What should be the answer of this particular question? See, when we prepare the bank reconciliation statement, we prepare it to know that how much balance as per me we are having in our bank account and what is the actual balance in the bank account. ठीक है, so हम bank को bank से compare करते हैं. The bank account which I am preparing and the bank account which obviously bank has as per the passbook, right? So over here question answer is going to be the balance as per bank column of the cash book as well as the passbook, right? Now next we have, in case of redemption of preference shares out of distributable profits, an amount equal to the nominal value of preference share redeemed must be transferred to. ठीक है, जब आप preference shares को redeem कर रहे हैं, then an amount equal to nominal value should be transferred to the development rebate reserve, investment allowance reserve, capital redemption reserve and the premium on redemption of preference shares. कहाँ पे ट्रांसफर करेंगे? Where we need to transfer this? So whenever you are redeeming the preference shares, it is said that you need to prepare a capital redemption reserve. Capital redemption reserve में what is the amount that we take forward to? It is the what you can say, the nominal amount of the preference shares that you want to redeem. जो आप redeem करना चाहते हैं वो आप normal amount को ही लिखेंगे वहां पे. Next is, while preparing a bank reconciliation statement, if you start with the debit balance as per cash book, the checks issued but not presented within the period, ठीक है, चेक इशू किए गए हैं but they have not been presented within the period, that means the period which you want to reconcile. I am reconciling monthly statement might be, ठीक है, the balance from 1st of July to 31st of July, this is what I am maintaining. So if I have issued the checks in this duration but these checks have not been presented in the bank, so what should be my approach for this, right? क्या approach होना चाहिए? Should I add? Should I deduct? Not required to be adjusted? None of the above. Obviously, these adjustments I am going to make in my books. Remember that. अपनी books में तो करूँगी ना, बैंक की पासबुक में थोड़ी जाके कर दूँगी, right? So just tell me in my books what is the adjustment I'm supposed to do. Should I add it? Should I deduct it? Or what should be the scenario? Question number 29. देखो, the answer is not correct over here. First thing first, when I am preparing the BRS, the bank reconciliation statement, I want to match my bank account, right? right? I want to add my bank account and I want to balance it with the bank as well. ठीक है, बैंक के साथ में मैं बैलेंस करना चाहती हूँ. So यहाँ पे suppose this is my bank account which I am preparing in my books, right? And this is as per the bank's passbook. I have issued certain checks for, let's say, 40,000 rupees, right? But those have not been presented in the bank. वो बैंक में present ही नहीं किए गए. So बैंक का balance तो ज़्यादा दिखाएगा. So what I have to do in my books, I have to add it back so that now the same balance is here. ठीक है, सेम बैलेंस इज हियर. फाइन. तो यहाँ पे हमें क्या करना है, वी हैव टू एड इट. दिस इज द एडजस्टमेंट विच वी नीड टू डू इन आवर बुक्स, राइट. The assumption underlying the fixed installment method of depreciation is that of the asset over different years of its useful life, increasing usage, equal usage, decreasing usage, and none of the above. ठीक है. So this is the assumption that they are underlying the fixed installment method of depreciation. Fixed installment method of depreciation, and we talking about the SLM method. ठीक है, हम बात कर रहे हैं स्ट्रेट लाइन मेथड की. तो स्ट्रेट लाइन मेथड में वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन दैट वी आर गोइंग टू यूज इट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ इक्वल यूसेज. तभी तो एवरी ईयर विल बी चार्जिंग द सेम अमाउंट टू डेप्रिसिएशन. ठीक है, सेम ही अमाउंट हमारा डेप्रिसिएशन में चार्ज होगा. एंड यस, इक्वल यूसेज इज द करेक्ट आंसर फॉर दैट. नाउ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन वी हैव इज 31, दैट इज ओरिजिनल कॉस्ट इज 126, salvage value is 6,000, useful life is 6 years, annual depreciation. बहुत ही super easy question है. 1,26,000 less 6 divided by 6 years, 120 divided by 6 is going to be 20,000 every year. This is what we will be charging. ठीक है, question number 31. Next is we have question number 32. That is preference shares amounting to 1 lakh, they are redeemed at a premium of 5%, right? By issue of shares amounting to 50,000 at a premium of 10%. The amount to be transferred to capital redemption reserve account will be. आप redeem कर रहे हो, issue of share भी कर रहे हो, 50,000 at a premium of 10%. अभी मुझे बताइए what is the amount I shall be transferring to the CRR reserve. बताइए. क्वेश्चन नंबर 32. गुड. ठीक है, सो यहाँ पे व्हाट इज द अमाउंट दैट आई विल बी ट्रांसफरिंग इज 50,000. सी बेसिकली व्हाट इज द रैशनल बिहाइंड इशूइंग द बिहाइंड रेजिंग अ कैपिटल रिडेम्पशन रिजर्व इज, हियर मी आउट ऑन टू दिस. देखो होता क्या है, सपोज दिस इज माय बैलेंस शीट. I will give you the rationale and then it will be clear to you. This is my balance sheet and right now they are showing that preference share is for 10 lakh rupees. ठीक है, अब मान लीजिए when I will redeem the preference shares, और मैंने preference shares को redeem कर दिए, so don't you think that my balance sheet value will decrease by 10 lakh rupees? 10 लाख से कम हो जाएगी ना मेरे बैलेंस शीट की स्ट्रेंथ. एंड दिस इज समथिंग विच इज नॉट टेकन प्राइमा फेसी, इट डज नॉट लुक्स गुड. ठीक है, सो इसीलिए व्हाट देयर आर अदर रैशनल्स टू, बट दिस इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द प्रोमिनेंट रैशनल कि अगर आप अपना जो प्रेफरेंस शेयर कैपिटल को रिडीम कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, सो व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज, अगर जैसे मान लीजिए 10 लाख की जगह 5 लाख हो गया, सो आई हैव टू ट्रांसफर टू द कैपिटल रिडेम्पशन रिजर्व 5 lakhs so that the overall value of my balance sheet remains maintained. In this particular question, you are removing 1 lakh rupees from the balance sheet. Forget about the premium. ठीक है, premium is something which we are not handling right now. इससे हमें अभी कोई मतलब नहीं है. But we are only focused on to the nominal value. Nominal value पे focus कर रहे हैं हम. So 1 lakh rupees you are removing from the balance sheet. And 50,000 rupees you are issuing it. That means your balance sheet value is increasing with 50,000. So balance of 50,000, obviously, with which my balance sheet value is going to be reduced, I need to transfer to the capital redemption reserve. जो बाकी का 50,000 है वही ट्रांसफर करना पड़ेगा. Fine. Over here, the premiums do not have any sort of role to play. Brave Limited has issued 60,000 shares of 10 each at a discount of 1 per share. The application money is 2, allotment 4, first and final call of 1, right? The amount of final call will be, final call का amount क्या होगा बताइए जरा. Question number 33. Question number 33. B 2, yes, because 10 rupees minus 1, that is discount, 9 rupees you have to call up. You have already called up 7 rupees, so the remaining 2 is going to be the value of your final call. The discount on issue of debentures should be shown as on the liability side of the balance sheet. Surplus, negative surplus, non-current liability, none of the above. Discount on issue of debentures will be shown in the liability side. लाइबिलिटी साइड में दिखाया जाता है क्या? Good. See, discount on issue of debentures. Number one thing, it is a debit item. I was supposed to receive 1 lakh rupees by issue of debentures, but I instead received 90,000. So my bank was debited with 90,000, right? Discount was debited with 10,000. And debentures were credited with 1 lakh. So that means discount on issue of debentures is a debit item. और debit item है, then it is written onto the asset side, right? Asset side में हम इसलिए लिखते हैं because we take the impact of it over the number of years. We don't take the hit of it in just one go. एक बार में हम नहीं लेते हैं, हम इसको over the number of years लेते हैं, right? Next we have which of the following expenses are debited in trading account? Surplus, negative surplus, non-current liability, wages. This is fairly easy question. Okay, wages is something that we debit into our trading account. Now, as per the accounting equation, what is the equation? Capital and liability equals to asset, capital plus assets, liabilities plus assets, assets is equals to liabilities equals to capital. This is right. Capital plus liabilities is equal to my assets. Then I have in the double entry bookkeeping, every business transaction affects two accounts with equal but opposite effect, two sides of the same account on two different dates, all of the above. Question number 37. वैसे तो आसान है but थोड़ा सा है. देखो, two sides of the same account is something which we are not going to talk about. ठीक है, तो अब अगर ये नहीं है then it is not this as well. Two different dates पे नहीं करते हैं हम, two accounts with equal but opposite effects. So these are some of the questions that I wanted to discuss today. Thank you so much for joining in, and if you did understand the video then please do not forget to like this video. Thank you so much for joining in.